So I just spent the last hour filming videos with Willis, and to be honest, it was a complete fail. I wasn't digging any of the videos. Like, nothing really I thought added to the plot of this video, which is about video editing. Let's get into it. Now, this is part 3 of the little series I'm doing on how to make YouTube videos. So first of all, I gotta touch on the actual reasons for video editing. Basically, they're to cut out all the mistakes you might have made. Like I say, oh, and I mess up my lines, a bunch of stuff. Like, I have my notes here, but they're just bullets. So I'm just kind of winging this, so there's a lot of mistakes that are made. And depending on your software, if you might have accidentally overexposed a shot, maybe the colors aren't vibrant enough for you in your footage, in your editing software, then you can actually manipulate the colors, make them more vibrant. And depending on the codec they use in your camera and how bright the image is, you can tweak the exposure of it. And if you're framing a shot, you have a lot of resolution to work with. Let's say you're shooting in 4K. If you kind of mess up the framing a little bit in post-production, you can actually bring it back and reframe the shot because you have all that extra resolution to work with. Let's say your character isn't centered, you can move the footage around, make sure that character is the dead center of the shot. And also when you're video editing, make sure to cut out the things that don't add to the plot of the video. So for example, I'm talking about how to edit videos. If I go on to talk about writing the YouTube video, that's not going to make any sense because I'm talking about how to edit the video. So writing would have already happened. That would have been an earlier part of the series, which it is, and I'll link it at the end of the video. But when you cut out the things that don't add to the plot, it'll boost the quality of the message you're trying to send. And what I mean by that is it'll purify the video so it's just specifically about that one topic that you're talking about. And cutting out the unnecessary parts will probably make the video shorter, make it a lot more easier to follow, which in the end will boost your audience retention. And basically, audience retention is one of the most important parts here on YouTube. Basically, in the YouTube algorithm, it judges the audience retention of your video. So if you have really low audience retention, then the YouTube algorithm is going to look at it and go, this isn't a good video, so we're not going to share it around. But if your video has an extremely high audience retention, they're going to think, wow, that's actually a good video. Let's share it around so more people can see this video. That's something I'm slowly working on. I've gone from averaging about 20%, now I'm averaging about 24% of my videos. So it's slowly going up. It's not quite there yet, but I'm definitely making strides in the right direction. And that's something you guys should work towards to boost your audience retention so you can grow that channel. And editing kind of manipulate the feel of the video. Let's say you're editing an intense, fast-paced sequence, then your cut's gonna be really quick, they're gonna be very short, your footage is gonna be really fast, gonna be a lot of whip pan transitions, things like that, which you can all do in your editing software. But if you're editing something slow and majestic, let's say a wedding or something, then the footage is gonna be really nice and slow, kind of cinematic, and it's not gonna really have a lot of harsh cuts. It's gonna be more smooth and flowing. Alright, let's talk about software. Software, there's a huge misconception with software that you have to have the best of the best software. Now, having something like Adobe Premiere or Final Cut Pro is nice because you have all them built-in extra features you can get plugins for and stuff like that. But if you're really using iMovie or Windows Movie Maker or anything on your phone that's free, one, make sure it does not have a watermark. A watermark will instantly show that your video is very amateur. So make sure the free software that you're using doesn't have a watermark. And pretty much the only requirements for YouTube editing software is that you can cut and combine different clips. Now, why are those high-end softwares so expensive like Final Cut Pro or Premiere Pro? That's because you can get plugins. They have a bunch of built-in features. Like in Final Cut, there's built-in motion graphics. Normally you have to get some like After Effects or any other 3D design program, but with Final Cut, some of them things are built in. Now obviously you can't do a whole bunch of crazy stuff, but there's those features in there if you kind of want to get your feet wet in the whole 3D modeling world and do all that type of stuff. There's also fancy text transitions, things like that in these high-end softwares. The color grading tools in them is also very advanced, and what's beautiful about having them really high-end open softwares is you can get plugins and things like that, so you can add on to different parts of the software. Like Final Cut, you can get a bunch of plugins for them motion graphics. You can either get something very advanced or simple. It all depends on your preference. And that's what's great. There's thousands and thousands and thousands of plugins out on the internet that you can buy or download for your software. And having the most expensive software doesn't necessarily mean your videos are going to be better. For all you know, I could have edited this video on something like iMovie, which is built in on every Mac, or Windows Movie Maker, which you can download free for Windows. And unless I do any fancy on-screen graphics, you can't tell the difference between something like Final Cut and iMovie. But when it comes to actual usability of the software, the professional ones are going to be a lot more optimized. They're going to run smoother in general because they've had so much time to perfect and fine-tune each part of the software. Now, it's not saying free ones are going to be really bad and they're going to be super choppy and not good. But generally speaking, free software, they don't have a lot of time to fine-tune each and every little thing. And a really great free program that a lot of people use is DaVinci Resolve. The free version, what's great, it doesn't have a watermark and there's still a bunch of professional features in it. But what actually is good editing? Good editing is like, you can actually cut that 10-minute video down to 5 minutes and still get a good product and get your point across. That's a sign of a good editor. That's something that's learned over years and years and years of editing. I've been editing for about 3 years now. I'm slowly learning how to make my videos more enjoyable to watch so I have that higher audience retention. But like anything, it takes a ton of time to get good at video editing because there's so much fine things you can learn, so much personal preference there is. And as you advance in your video editing career, you kind of develop your own style. And having your own style is important because it kind of sets you apart from everyone else. But that's it for me, guys. Comment down below if you learned a little something about video editing. I will see you guys in the next video. Make sure to like and subscribe if you are new. Peace out.